This show is brought to you in part by viewers like you who joined a Patreon or become YouTube members. Thank you. And if you could, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. Hey, so I've been at the East-West Shrine Bowl all weekend, and that has given me an opportunity to expand my net of players to look at so far. And I think that's the thing I love about these all-star games, right? It's fun to get a look at some of the big name guys that you are always going to take a look at, and you get to see them in person and get a feel for how big they are and all of that. And it's really cool and fun. But the most useful part of these all-star games is that they're bringing you a lot of players who NFL teams have said stood out in one way or another, and they're throwing them in front of you, and you get a chance to basically speed date. And in the case of the East-West Shrine Bowl, like the way they do media here is pretty cool. You literally do get to not like literal speed dates, but you get to interview these guys and talk to them. You get a lot of access to them. So that's really, I think, the best thing about the East-West Shrine game. You get to see a lot of guys that maybe you wouldn't have been exposed to because they're not, super mainstream names, but they're good names to look at and names that you're going to be happy that you look at, right? The East-West Shrine game has produced a lot of diamonds in the rough. Tom Brady was an East-West Shrine guy. Brock Purdy was an East-West Shrine guy. So let's kind of get into it, right? I have 4 position groups where I have players that I'm going to put on my official post East-West Shrine game watch list, which means I was impressed enough with what I saw out of these guys at 2 days of practice that I am invested in looking up more about them and learning more about them, and getting more tape on them. The first guy is Garrett DeGorgio. I talked about him in my last video. UCLA prospect. He played right guard for the most part, but a little bit of left tackle, a little bit of right tackle. When he played right guard at UCLA, he was really good in pass protection. He caught on with run blocking a little bit late in the season. If we're talking about PFF grades for him for overall the whole season, had a 74 pass grade, a 73.2 run block grade, gave up 3 sacks and 649 pressures. I mean, not pressures. Oh, man, you imagine if he gave up 649 pressures? No, he gave up 3 sacks and 649 snaps, 17 pressures as well. And then he moved around. He played a little left tackle, a little right tackle. I think he had 100 snaps at left tackle, but mainly played right guard. When I saw him at the Shrine Bowl, they didn't have him at guard, interestingly enough, at all. They made him play a lot of tackle, and they made him play a lot of center. And I think the reason for that was because they wanted to confirm whether they thought this guy was a tackle or not, because he is a pretty big guy, pretty long guy, and you can see him being tackle. I don't think he's a tackle. He just doesn't have the feet to be a tackle or the accuracy with his hands to be a tackle. But what I did like from him was when he went inside. I thought his best stuff of the day was at guard, or when he had less space to play with, right? When you put him in more of a box, I thought he kind of shined a lot. I think he is a pretty interesting prospect to look at. I can't wait to look at some of the film that he had at UCLA where he was playing guard. Definitely like that USC film seems like something I'm definitely gonna have to take a look at. But he was interesting at practice for sure. Brian Parker out of Duke, he's another guy who's interesting. He was a right tackle at Duke. If we're talking about PFF grades, he's the highest graded guy that I'm going to talk about in this video. Again, PFF grades are like Wikipedia's. They're a jumping off point, but they should not be your definitive research on a player, right? 87.1 run grade, 82.5 pass grade, 833 snaps, only gave up 3 sacks and 19 pressures at right tackle. He played no right tackle in this all-star game. I think he came in trying to prove a point that he's a center because he has short arms. I don't think he has long arms at all. Because he has short arms, he tried to just play center. I don't think the center stuff went well for him during the East-West Shrine game. And, he was real close for me not even putting him on the list for the most part until I saw some reps of him in one-on-one at guard. And when he was put at guard, it was like a light bulb went off where I'm like, oh, he could be good at guard. He could be really good at guard. Or maybe he just needs more time at center. His issue at center was that he was relying on his hop step, to his bunny hop step, to kind of get an anchor, but he wasn't really good at it. And what was really just going to happen with him at center, he's getting blown. He was getting blown up in the middle all the time. He's getting pushed back like 10 feet consistently. And then he did a decent enough job at the end of those reps anchoring to fight back a little bit. But it didn't really feel great, right? When you hear that that's the highest graded guy here at the East-West Shrine game, you have higher expectations. But then he played guard. I'm like, okay, that's the guy that got those really high PFF grades and that they saw at times at tackle. Definitely not going to play tackle in the NFL, obviously. He was only a right tackle at Duke, but his measurements aren't going to allow him to play tackle in the league. But I do think he can be a guard. How high is he coveted? That's another question. But yeah, somebody I look at as a guard. Micah Morris out of Georgia was somebody I thought really had some nice reps here. Really good in the one-on-one drills. And when you look at his PFF grade, his 81 pass grade kind of reflects that. 69.5 run grade. And I think his showing in team drills definitely reflected a 69.5 run grade. If we look at his overall numbers, 701 snaps, 0 sacks, 4 pressures, only played left guard. Yet he's definitely not the most comfortable in space hitting a target. So you got to ask yourself, is that something you're willing to deal with? As long as he can pass protect, I think in a pass heavy scheme, he makes a ton of sense. And like, I'm gonna be real with you, like having a really good pass grade, giving up 0 sacks and only 4 pressures when your quarterback play was what it was at Georgia, no shade, but it was what it was in Georgia, and that wasn't good, and it wasn't a quarterback who stays in the pocket and gets rid of the ball quickly. I think that's something to be interesting about. Again, it's why I'm going to put him on the watch list to watch more tape of him. The next guy is Emil Wagner out of Notre Dame. His PFF grade, 61.3 run grade, 79.4 pass grade. Was pretty decent in one-on-ones. Not as good as I expected him to be, but he was good in one-on-ones. 747 snaps, gave up 1 sack, 7 pressures, only played right tackle. He's going to have to play guard in the league, definitely. Like, there's no doubt about it. He's going to play guard, in my opinion. Yeah, he didn't really make the impression that I hoped, but he made enough of an impression for me to want to look up more about him. Riley Mahlman is the only guy on this list I have listed as tackle, and he's definitely a tackle, and he's a tackle for a team that wants to throw a ball a lot. He is not going to be helpful in the run game. He could be better than what he is right now in the run game, but he's not going to get that much better in the run game. 58.8 run grade at Wisconsin. I understand why that grade was there after watching him in a couple times at the Senior Bowl. Not the Senior Bowl, the East-West game. His issue is this. Some guys play low, and that's what teams prefer, right? To be low to the earth. Some guys play a little high, and that's not preferable, but you can live with it. And then there's what Riley plays, which is super goddamn high. He's up there like an ostrich. He's pretty good in pass sets. Still gets a little high, but pretty good in pass sets. And he has a traditional tackle build. Like, if you just saw him walking around at Giant Eagle, you would be like, yeah, that guy looks like he plays tackle, right? Like, he's an obvious tackle build. But when he moves in space, when he's trying to hit contact in space, and I'll give him this, he moved better than I thought he did. But the finishing part, the violence hitting in space, not there. He's not a very violent guy. He is a technical guy. He's somebody who can use his length and his size, but he's not a violent guy. So if you have one of these offenses where you're getting off 40, 50 passes a game, a lot of quick shit, I think he could eventually become a starter for that kind of an offense for a decent period of time. If you're trying to run a run heavy let's whip some fucking ass offense, he ain't your guy. He's not an ass whipper. It's just very important what his fit is. Now, if you do want somebody who plays with violence, my friend, and that's also, I want to go back and give guys violent score. Garrett DeGorgio, certified violent. I like him. He's violent. Brian Parker, I wish I saw a little bit more violence out of him. Micah Morris, I wish I saw a little bit more violence out of him. Emil Wagner, I thought he was solidly violent. By the way, Garrett DeGorgio, great motor on him too. He was whipping ass at times and then just following up. Like, I like that kind of shit. You know me. Riley Mauman, not violent. Caden Barnett out of Wyoming. Hey, if he can't do nothing, he could be violent. That man is violent. Okay, Caden Barnett is violent. He doesn't really know how to use that violence, but he is certainly violent. A 100% only guard prospect. He actually has to gain some weight, in my opinion. He's not big enough to play the way that he wants to. 73.2 run grade on Pro Football Focus, 65.8 pass grade. That tracks. He has moments of brilliance as a pass protector, but yeah, I get why he doesn't have a high grade there. 792 snaps, gave up 1 sack, 18 pressures at right guard. He's definitely a guard. He's only going to play guard. He does play with violence. I like that about him. There was one play where he pulled and he hit the shit out of somebody in the gap, and I love that. He was violent all practice, both days. He's a violent dude. He's a shit talker. He's kind of one of those kind of guys. Really like that about his game. And I think there's something there that you can work with. I think he moves well enough. I think he needs a lot of polishing, but the violence, the willingness to be violent is there. And if you can harness that in the right direction and coach it up, for the right type of scheme, right? Like if Kevin were still coaching his team, he's exactly the kind of guard I would want them to go after because the violence is there for him. All right, we're going to talk about defensive linemen, but first I got to thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Real quick, just want to let you guys know Sleeper has a new offer here. They're offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required. And also, if you're a first-time user, you also will receive a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code WORSTTAKE. Again, $20 free, no deposit required. Plus, first-time users also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Join Sleeper. Quick, we're going to go through the defensive line. Malachi Lawrence, edge rusher out of UCF. Really good this week. Very explosive, very, very quick with his hands. Not always accurate with his hands, but very, very quick with his hands. 89.5 pass rush grade, 66.2 run defense grade, 63.2 tackle grade, 18 stops, 40 pressures. I think the problem with him sometimes is also he moves faster than he thinks. And he needs to master that timing between how fast he wants to move and how fast he can process information. If he gets better at that, he'll be a much better player. Landon Robinson at Navy, you talk about a guy who brings violence on every fucking snap. Landon Robinson is the most violent guy here by far. You look forward to every Landon Robinson rep that you get. This little dude out of Navy, well, he's not little, he's bigger than me, but he's like 5'10", 5'11", 291 pounds. He is a true bowling ball. But man, he's violent. He is very violent, very explosive, very fun to watch. 85.6 pass rush grade at the University of Navy, 68.1 run defense grade, which tracks. He's not very big. 63.2 tackle grade, 32 stops, which I think is very impressive, and then 34 pressures. This guy's just, I think if you get him on this team, Jim Schwartz is going to fall in love with him. Like, this is the exact kind of 3-tech that Jim Schwartz loves, for better or worse. It's like the same reason, like if you ask Jim Schwartz who you should keep, Jawan Briggs or Aiden Huntington, he says Aiden Huntington without a doubt because he loves pass rushing 3-techs. This is like if you're looking for a fit in the Jim Schwartz system. He ain't going to do no run defense, but Jim Schwartz is not interested in doing much run defense. He wants to shoot through gaps and penetrate and get TFLs, and that gets you out the run game. And Landon Robinson feels like a guy that they could go after. Mason Riger is an edge out of Wisconsin. Big guy, great build. He's absolutely shredded. He looks like a pro wrestler out there. 78 pass rush grade, 78 run defense grade, 57.5 tackle grade. 20 stops, 45 pressures at the University of Wisconsin. My big thing with him, he has moments of brilliance, but he's also like pretty stiff. Doesn't have the best bend in the world. It's not terrible, but it's not the best bend in the world. And he wasn't he wasn't the most consistent, but I think there's something there in him as well. Let's move to defensive backs. Brent Austin, heard he had great showings at the East-West Shrine game. I was focused on not running backs, but offensive line and defensive line. So I didn't really get a look at Brent Austin, but everybody I trust that was there told me he looked great. 85. Well, he has a 87.4 coverage grade on PFF, a 76.9 tackle grade, 70 run defense grade, 8.7 missed tackle percentage, 11 stops, 11 pass breakups. Devin Marshall out of North Carolina State. I think Corey Kinnon was on here talking about him being the best player here. I saw a couple of reps of him. He played pretty well. 85 coverage grade, 79 tackle grade, 80 run defense grade, 7.1% missed tackle, 12 stops, and 11 PBUs. And then if we're looking at wide receivers, Caden Wetjen out of Iowa. He's a return prospect who you would occasionally play at wide receiver. 34 returns. He has tremendous kick return and punt return grades. A 90.3 kick return grade, 95.5 punt return grade. And if we're looking at his average, it was 29 yards per punt per return, which is fucking awesome. Kobe Young is interesting. He didn't get a ton of targets at Georgia, but he has the build that you want. It's hard to evaluate these Georgia and Georgia Tech wide receivers because you don't really know what they could have put up because the quarterback play wasn't amazing at any of those schools. And I know that like those quarterbacks have their fans and they're good college quarterbacks because they can be productive on the ground. But if we're talking about being productive through the air, they left a lot of yards on the table. We don't have to argue about it. It's just what happened. You can love Haynes King or whoever you want to love and not have to act like he was throwing dimes out there 24/7. But yeah, Kobe Young, only 29 targets at Georgia, 74.9 receiving grade, 67.6 drop grade. Xavion Thomas, 56 targets, 68.3 receiving grade, 78.5 drop grade. He was solid during this week as well. But those are my guys from East-West Shrine game that I'm definitely going to take another look at and get some more film on. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Super excited to get to the Senior Bowl, but that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.